Have you ever felt like your position in a group quietly changed, but you couldn't explain when it happened? No conflict, no argument, no dramatic fallout, just a subtle shift. People interrupt you slightly more, they consult you slightly less. Your words don't land the way they used to. And the strange part is, no one announced it. It doesn't happen in one explosive moment. It happens slowly, and that's why you miss it. It starts when small corrections become frequent. Someone begins subtly adjusting your statements in public, not aggressively, not to embarrass you, just enough to signal that your version needs refinement. They rephrase you, they clarify what you meant, they add something as if your thought was incomplete. Individually, each correction looks harmless, but hierarchy is shaped by repetition. If your ideas are repeatedly adjusted, observers begin to associate you with partial authority. Not full authority, partial. And once that perception sets in, people unconsciously look elsewhere for certainty. If you ignore this pattern, it becomes your new baseline. You don't lose competence. You lose perceived finality. That is enough. Another shift begins with selective agreement. Someone agrees with you privately, they nod, they validate you, they align with you one-on-one. But in group settings, something changes. They soften their alignment. They hesitate. They add distance. I see your point, but that but matters. Social alignment is visible power. When others visibly stand with you, your position strengthens. When alignment becomes conditional, your authority weakens. The group begins recalibrating, not because you were wrong, but because support became unstable. This is rarely loud, it's strategic ambiguity, and ambiguity destabilizes hierarchy. If it continues, you become less central, less referenced, less quoted, not attacked, just repositioned. Then there is subtle exclusion. Meetings happen without you, conversations continue when you step away. Information reaches you slightly later than others. Each instance feels small. Each one has a plausible explanation. You tell yourself it's coincidence, but hierarchy is built through access. Access to information, access to timing, access to decisions before they're final. If you consistently receive updates after others, you are not inside the core, you are orbiting it. And orbiting is not the same as leading. If you tolerate that long enough, people adjust to your peripheral role. It becomes normal. That's how displacement settles. Another mechanism is energy imbalance. You initiate more, you follow up more, you check in more, you adjust your tone more. The other side rarely does. At first, it feels like effort. Then it becomes pattern. The one who initiates more holds less leverage. Because urgency lowers perceived power, the person who responds selectively appears scarce. Scarcity signals value. Over time, initiative imbalance creates hierarchy without anyone declaring it. You are negotiating upward, they are responding downward. If this stabilizes, equality is gone. Not every shift is intentional, not every change is hostile. Groups evolve, roles adapt, influence fluctuates. But patterns matter more than isolated events. Status is not lost in dramatic confrontations. It is lost in tolerated micro-adjustments, and once the structure stabilizes, it feels natural. That's the danger, because when something feels natural, no one questions it, not even you. You begin adjusting yourself downward to match the new reality. You speak slightly shorter, you defer slightly quicker, you push back slightly less, and that is when the hierarchy locks in. The question is not whether someone pushed you down, the question is, when did you start stepping down without realizing it?